Move on to a different story, which Tapfum is going to handle, which is the shambocking that we witnessed in Tshwane on that video. Over to you, Taps.
All right, let's now speak now to IPID's spokesperson, Grace Langa. Grace, thank you so much for joining us. Have we learned anything new about this incident in the last 24 hours? Have we identified the police officers who allegedly took part, in this assault?
No, morning to everyone. No, we are going to identify the police officers just in about an hour. We have made arrangement with the manager responsible for the center of this Metro Police in Tshwane, and we'll have to find out who was on duty at that time, driving which car, how many, and then we'll take it from there.
The use of a shambok, something that was synonymous with apartheid cops, and we've seen a lot of it lately. There was an incident in the Western Cape. Last year, there were reports that in Hillbrow, police were using shamboks to enforce lockdown regulations. From what I understand, this is not standard police issue equipment. So why does it seem like so many officers are walking around with shamboks and they're really willing to use them on civilians?
That honestly would not know, because the police officers are trained very well. They know what is expected of them to do. And it's not all police officers, but those who break the law, in our view, they do it on their own, intentionally. They decide to violate people's rights. They know what is expected of them. And at this current state, we just have to hear their side of the story, because we don't know if they will come up with a story of saying they were defending themselves or what. But as we continue with the investigations, those are some of the issues we'll have to find out from them, and the reasons why they had to use shambok, because I don't believe any Metro Police department gives people shamboks to go around shamboking people.
That incident I mentioned, Ms. Langa, earlier last year in Hillbrow, there were reports that the police said it was equipment that they were given by higher-ups. Is that something that you've looked into?
We'll have to look at it, because we just have to be certain. I don't want to speculate and say it's not true. We don't know. Maybe it's something being introduced that is new, we are not aware of. But as part of investigations, we'll have to find out. It will be one of the questions that our investigators will have to pose to management of the police.
IPID recently released its annual report where it detailed the amount of assault cases that it looked into for the year under review. What did those numbers look like, and how many of those cases were resolved?
I don't have the specific number with me now, but I remember the cases were about 1,016, with Western Cape the highest at 1,016. So the number is quite high. It's not pleasing, honestly, together with torture and death as a result of police action. Those are the highest for the last year. From March up until now.
For those cases that were opened, how many of them are actually resolved? And do we have a case where some of these people who have been pointed at as, you know, corrupt cops are still on the street?
We do have convictions from our side if you check annual report. But then remember, some of these cases are still in court. Some are still waiting for DPP to make decisions so that they can be placed on court roll. And in terms of whether they're still on service or not, that is an internal process within the SAPS, because we recommend for criminal prosecution and disciplinary actions. So whether the person is dismissed or not, or given written warning, we don't get involved. Unfortunately, the Act doesn't allow us to get into the internal processes of the police. But in terms of criminal convictions, we definitely are confident. We are happy with our performance, and we are still waiting for more which are on control, and some are waiting decision from the NPA, and some are still waiting for other forensic results. So they do take time at times, but finally, at the end of the day, people get justice out of our actions.
All right. Thank you so much for availing yourself and for giving us as much information as you could. The IPID's acting spokesperson, Grace Langa.